and welcome to That Outdoorsy Podcast. I'm your host, Cassie, aka That Outdoorsy Gal, and today we're hanging out with the one and only Greg from Fat Man Little Trail on Instagram, TikTok, and fatmanlittletrail.com. Greg started hiking as a simple way to explore more of Colorado, and somewhere between catching his breath and taking photos, he realized he was onto something bigger. What began as a few weekend walks turned into Fat Man Little Trail, a community built around curiosity, humor, and finding joy in the outdoors, no matter your experience level. Through witty blog posts and trail talk videos, Greg's made it his mission to make the outdoors feel welcoming, relatable, and full of fun. Because sometimes the best adventures happen when you stop worrying about the pace and start appreciating the moments in between. Hi, Greg. Thank you so much for joining me on That Outdoorsy Podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, me too. I say we just go ahead and dig in. I'm excited to learn more about your story. So can you just tell me how you got started with Fat Man Little Trail?
Yeah, it's actually, I wish I had a better story, but it happened because I got laid off. I got laid off right before the pandemic happened. And I live out in Denver and right downtown Denver. And I was never a hiker. I lived out here for like 10 years and never hiked or did anything. I was like a workaholic and loved going to the bars and restaurants downtown. And then all of a sudden, I got laid off and I'm just sitting there. And then like 2 months later, the pandemic hit and everybody, you can't go anywhere. All the bars and restaurants are closed. So my tiny little downtown apartment, which was fun when you could walk to everything, no longer became fun. And it was really small and there was nothing there. The only thing that were open were the trails. And I was like, you know what, I'll give that a shot. So I went out to hike one day and really enjoyed it and absolutely fell in love with it. And I worked in media before and like looking for a new job. I was like, okay, well, I need to learn all these new medias, the social medias and the websites and all that stuff. And I was hoping to start a website anyways. And I was hiking and I'm sitting down. It's a super easy trail now, but like back then when I started, I was dying on this thing. And, I'm sitting on this log or rock or something that's on the side of the trail and I'm just breathing hard and I'm just like, I'm not going to make it. And these two little kids came walking by with like Crocs on and like sucking on a Capri Sun. And they're like just jogging up and down the trail like it's nothing. And I'm just sitting there like, half dead and on the rock. And I looked at them, they ran past me and I just looked, I'm like, I'm just a fat man on this little trail. And I was like, that's a pretty good name. So I texted my cousin who's a big supporter. And I was like, hey, what do you think of this for a name of website? She's like, you need to do that now. And I came home that day and created Fat Man Little Trail. I had no idea what I was doing, as all of us when we start, something new, no clue. But I kind of did the research and the website was cool, but really I had fallen in love with hiking and I wanted to get out and I wasn't working at the time. So and again, it was the only thing to do in Colorado. So I was out 3, 4, 5 days a week out trying to find different trails. And it was nice because you get away from people and in a downtown, tiny, really cramped apartment building, there's people everywhere. So there was nowhere to get away from them until I found the outdoors. And luckily I enjoyed it and it took and I really liked it.
Yeah, I love that. I did work throughout COVID, but it was such a nice way to get away from everything because, yeah, you couldn't go anywhere. So second I get off work, I would just go hiking or the weekends. And yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, I love it. But it's funny that you said you were just sitting on that rock and you thought of that name. It's kind of the same thing happened to the podcast. I kind of thought of the name before I even decided to do the podcast. I was just hiking one day. I'm like, what can I do? Wouldn't that be funny if I did That Outdoorsy Podcast? And then I was like, why don't I do it? I called my husband. I was like, is this stupid? He's like, no, just do it. So
just do it.
Here we are.
A lot of the best ideas start with a name,
That's really the hardest part. Was there a specific hike that you've done in your hiking career that really made you fall in love with the outdoors, or was it that first one?
So there were a few, and the first one was okay, but then there was another one, I was getting stressed out because I obviously didn't work, pandemic, or nobody knew what was going on. And then I hiked up this hike that's near me. I don't want to tell everybody where it is because then they will steal my hike. But it was the first time that I came up to like a peak, and it's not really a peak. It's actually like a long ridge line that you get to, and I'm just struggling to get up this hill. And you come around a corner, and then you come out to this ridge line, and it's probably like 3/4 of a mile long, and all you can see like Pikes Peak, which is a 14,000, and you can see like all the mountains up above Breckenridge and things like that from this one little ridge line that's only, 45 minutes from where I live. And it was all of my hikes before that were kind of forested hikes. So this was my first time. And even though I don't know, it's probably at like 9,000 feet, 8,000 feet. It's not a big peak or anything. But I came up there and something hit me and I was like, everything's going to be okay. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew that everything was going to be okay at that point. And like from then on, I just kind of relaxed and just kind of went with it. And then I got to tell you, recently I went out and started hiking in Oregon for the first time and fell in love with hiking again. There's a certain point where you hike the same trails over and over and over again that are by your house. And while they're amazing and Colorado's amazing and it's beautiful, it was so nice to kind of explore again and find that piece of the map that hasn't been discovered yet and get to draw on that line again, as opposed to a map that's been worn because you've used it so often. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of fall in love every time I hike though.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I'm all for saving money and hiking where you live, but if you can afford it, like,
Mm.
I know what you mean. Every time I travel and hike, I'm just like, oh my gosh.
It just brings that excitement back because it's something new, it's something different. And I think at the base of hiking is that adventurous spirit of seeing something you've never seen before, getting to a place you've never been before. And when you hike in your hometown, it's hard to have that moment where you're seeing something new again. But when you get to travel, it's amazing that you get to just try and see something new.
Yeah, do you hike Four Seasons too? I think you do, right? Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, because it's also, you can kind of see your hometown trails looking different every seasons.
Exactly. It's like 4 new trails.
It really is. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I have like certain ones that I like do every season and they always look different. But yeah, I absolutely love hiking in different places. And I'm a mountain girl, but hiking in Oregon along the beach,
Yeah.
amazing. And you can
Yeah.
breathe. That's always nice.
Exactly. It's not, I could do without the humidity because, out here in Colorado, our humidity is like 0%. And then Oregon, I walked out of the hotel room and just started sweating. And I was like, why is there fog? What is this? And it's been a while since I've seen that. So that was definitely different. But it's so great to see something new. And even within my state, I live on the Front Range. I live in Denver. So, I hike at Rocky Mountain National Park a lot. I hike in, they call it the Front Range, which kind of runs up and down the spine of Colorado. But if you can get out to Southwest or Northwest Colorado and you get to different mountain ranges, different areas, it's just something new. I love that. I love the excitement of hiking a trail you've never hiked before.
Yeah, I actually have done a little bit of traveling down in Colorado, down by like the Silverton area, and
Yeah.
Great Sand Dunes National Park is
It's
one of
so
my
cool.
favorite places. It is so cool. And hiking up those dunes, oh,
Yeah, it's like a 2-mile hike, and it's the hardest 2-mile hike you'll ever do in your life.
and like I have to do it barefoot. I can't wear shoes in the sand. I'm just like,
Well, okay, so I have a story about that.
oh, I love it.
I'm stealing your podcast now
Let's
and
do
it's
it.
now Greg's story time.
Perfect.
So you don't want to hike barefoot in Great Sand Dunes because Great Sand Dunes, that sand gets super hot.
Yes.
So if you're in the summer, like it will burn your feet. But if you go down to White Sands National Park down in Alamogordo, New Mexico, that is gypsum. So it doesn't actually get hot. So there you do hike barefoot. And when I showed up there, I got there and I saw all these shoes on the side of the sand dune. I'm like, what is happening? And I took my shoes off and walked through barefoot and I was like, this is amazing. I sat down and saw a sunset. All the sand turned, or all the dunes turned pink, and then there was a rainbow directly above me, and behind me was a thunderstorm. There's a great story on my website about it, and it was just the most
perfect,
like awe-inspiring moment ever. And I was just like, where am I? This is not real.
There's something about a rainbow. I don't know. When I'm hiking and I see a rainbow, I'm just like, what's happening? So when I do hike sand dunes, I don't go totally barefoot. I wear 2 pairs of socks.
Okay.
Because I can't wear the shoes, but the 2 pairs of socks keeps my feet from burning.
Well, and the trick is, get there in the spring or the fall or the winter where the sand is nice and cool, because it gets so hot down there in the summers.
Such a cool place, though.
It's very beautiful.
When you first started sharing your hiking journey, were you just documenting your own adventures? Or did you have the idea that it might also inspire others to get out too?
So when I first started, it was just for me. It was for me, and I wanted to learn the website and kind of learn the media type of stuff. But I never posted anything with myself in it for the first year on social media, at least. on my website, I'd have some selfies, but on Instagram, I only posted nature pictures for the first year. And then I started meeting more and more people, out there and telling the story a few times. And people were like, you need to let people know that what you're doing and it might help inspire somebody. And then when I started like posting, I think I started with a Sunday selfie. So I would just like post pictures of myself on Sundays and that kind of grew because now there was a face to go with the Fat Man Little Trail brand name. And then people started reaching out and saying, hey, because of you, I got off my couch and I went and tried to hike, or because of you, did this for the first time. I part of my website then became, I created this thing called the Getting Started Guide for people who've never done it before. It's intimidating to go like from Colorado, especially, or you live in Utah, like places where people are super athletic and super outdoorsy. And if you're just a chubby person who sits on their couch, it's hard to get started. One, because it's embarrassing, and I wanted to tell people like, okay, well, this is a backpack. This is what you should, these are the shoes you should bring. These are like socks are so important. And how do you pack a back? Because, the first time you go out and you're like, I'm going on a 1 mile hike in a park and I better bring like, 10 pounds of food and I better bring 6 gallons of water and a knife and a rope and all these things because who knows, I might stub my toe, on a paved walking path. But it takes a while for people to get comfortable and know what they should bring and things like that. So I started that guide, and then I started reaching out to, or people started reaching out to me, and I would tell them, they tell me their stories about how, that they've just started getting out there again. And one of my big things is telling people you don't have to climb a mountain to enjoy the outdoors. And out here in the mountain areas, out west, people feel like the entire hike is judged by whether you're or not you finish the mountain. Whereas, I tell people just be in nature, just enjoy it. And I had so many people reach out and say, like, because of you, I started doing that. And now I'm in nature every weekend. And it's really, my life is better because of that. And there's nothing better in the world than that feeling, right?
I love that. I've had a few people reach out to me too. Thank you so much for sharing. It's helped inspire me. And I don't know, I'm like, me?
Yeah.
I inspired you to do something?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
and I think that's, social media is a horrible, horrible thing. I'm going to say it. I've
earmuffs.
it's done so much for me, and it's allowed me to connect to so many people. It has a bad reputation, and people, there's a dark side to it. But the side that I try to bring out there is the light side and trying to help people and the connections you make. I've met so many people through either social media or hiking where I never would have met these people any other
Same.
way. And, to know that somebody watched something you did on social media or a website and then it changed their life, even a little bit, even like a half of a percentage, is so powerful. And it's so humbling to know that, people are out there watching what you do and kind of learning from you or being inspired by you.
And kind of back to what you were saying about, not having to hike the whole mountain, just being outside in nature. I think that's another big piece of social media that's tough because that comparison game,
Right.
It's tough. But I think that that's also kind of why I started the podcast, because I want to hear people's real stories. Because some people think others are hardcore, but really we're all fighting up that mountain. Or,
Right.
maybe, that's why my name is That Outdoorsy Gal and not That Hiking Gal, because I just want to be outside.
Exactly.
I don't need to hike all the mountains, but a scenic drive, I'm in. I just want to be outside, sit on a paddleboard with zero exercise. Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's just something about nature. And I've really gotten into lately. Well, I've become a bird lady. I don't know how that happened.
There's a calendar. Once we hit an age, we become birders. I'm convinced of it. I'm still waiting for my turn.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's super fun. So I'm excited for you. But now I'm super into wildlife. And so I'll just get up early before work sometimes, run up the mountain and just sit there and see if a moose is going to pop out or a beaver or something. I don't know. It's just something about being outside. It brings clarity. It kind of helps with, the world is crazy. So
our day-to-day lives are insane, like there's 100 million things you have to do and one more Zoom call, one more Teams call. And it's just like, when you go out there, there's nothing matters but you and the tree. And that's,
the trees and the moose and the flowers, the snowflakes. My friends make fun of me because every time I go out, I'm like, it's so pretty. They're like, we just need to make a drinking game. Every time you say it's so pretty, take a drink.
Nobody would make it back down the mountain.
Nobody would make
it.
I'd be carrying everybody. Your humor is such a big part of what makes Fat Man Little Trail stand out. Was that always your natural approach, or did you find your voice as you started growing?
It's basically just my inner monologue as I'm hiking. I've told people I hike solo most of the time. And for the first, like, I don't know, probably 20 hikes, I was trying to solve all the problems in the world in my head. And it takes a long time to get out of your own head. And then you have to enjoy, if you're going to be a solo hiker, you have to enjoy spending time with yourself. And I was getting bored with myself. So I just started telling these stories to myself to kind of entertain me. But that's kind of what I think about when I'm hiking. I'll go on a hike and I'll shoot 5 of those little Instagram jokes, and it's trying to be relatable. Like we were talking about earlier, how social media is a, kind of a best of reel, and everybody posts well, not me. I just post it all. I'm like, you know what? Everybody can say, look at me on the top of the mountain, but nobody talks about like crying halfway up the mountain because, it's a false summit and you're like just miserable. You thought you were done and you've got another mile to go. So I tell people that, and I'm like, and I think that resonates with people because that's how they feel when they're hiking. Man, I went out there and hiked, and Bobby Joe on Instagram, they looked so happy at the summit. And it's like, well, yeah, but they were crying the whole time up there too. So I just let people see that side of me. And a lot of solo hiking, you'll go out there and, when it gets quiet, I get bored. So I just tell stories to myself, and I'm like, hey, that'd be good for the internet. So I just hold up my camera and tell it to the internet and keep walking.
I mean, that's why I started following you, because I'm like, he's saying all the things I'm thinking.
Exactly.
Like, oh gosh. But you do it so well.
Thank you.
It's hard to be on camera. You get the
Yeah.
cringe, right? We all are cringe. You are not cringe, though. You are like just so natural. I'm just like, how do I be like Greg? I just want to be like Greg.
There is cringe there. And one thing
I don't see it.
you notice that there's no one around me because I hike like 50 miles to make sure no one's around me because I'm embarrassed to shoot in front of
I
people.
do that too.
I've gotten a little better, and I can start shooting now when like some people are around. But yeah, it took a long time to get comfortable doing that, and I don't know if this ever happens to you. It's just like if you have to use the bathroom when you're hiking, as soon as you pull out your camera to shoot something, you will have seen no one for 10 miles. And as soon as you pull out your camera, then it's like 50 people show up and you're like, oh man, I'm this guy holding my camera. Cause part of it too is I don't want to bother somebody's good time. Like if they're out there,
I'm the same. Yeah.
I don't want to bother them with me shooting a video. So I want to be, in the privacy of my own outdoors.
Yeah. I'm the same way. And then I'll usually use a tripod, and it's like the tripod put away of shame, because they'll like see me take it out, and I'm like, "Ooh,"
Yeah.
tuck it back in my pack like it never happened.
That's why I do like the walk and talk. That's kind of my signature style of, I'm not, one, I don't like to edit. And two, I'm just like, I'm going to do this as fast as I can and knock it out and let's go.
Yeah, I should do more of that, because the tripod thing is just not working out and I'm too embarrassed.
They're hard too. Like there's not a flat surface in the outdoors to put a tripod down. Okay, if anybody gets anything out of this, like feel bad for your outdoor influencers who have to try to find a flat spot for the tripod. I'm totally kidding, by the way. That's sarcasm.
It's tough though. It's a hard life.
I mean, it's a real thing, but
And God forbid it be a windy day.
I can't tell you how many times my phone has fallen. Like it's like if I could probably do an hour-long clip of just my phone getting blown over by the wind that I had on a tripod or something like that. But again, I try not to, everybody's out there to enjoy nature. So I think, we're not blocking the path. We're not doing, we're trying to very discreetly either set up a camera to shoot a quick video. Or like I have a tripod, but I use it most of the time to take pictures of like flowers and stuff because my hands, usually it's like, I got to bend down and I've got to like squat, and I've been hiking for 6 miles and I'm like, everything's shaking at that point. So I'll put my tripod out and then I'll like set up the camera for the flower picture. Or if I'll see like a moose or something, I don't want to be so excited that my hand's shaking. So I'll set my tripod down and shoot that. And I'm just too lazy to do it with my funny videos. I'm like,
You're like, it's
and
fine.
it's quick. They come to me fast, and then I say them really quick, and then I move on. So
I know. I'm always thinking of things, and then I'm like, oh, I should say that. And then I'm like, oh, Greg will say it. It's fine. I'll wait for Greg to say it.
you got to just say it. Just throw it out there.
Just got it. Usually I probably couldn't even say it because I'm just out of breath anyway. So I'm like,
that's true. I will tell you, I shoot a lot more videos on the hike downhill than I do on the hike uphill because I can't breathe on the hike uphill.
Yeah.
So I wait and I'm like, this is going to be a good one right here. Yeah. When I can breathe again.
Yeah. And kind of going back to what you're saying, just about, everyone's out there to enjoy nature. Like we have to be respectful. I mean, I think that's such a big thing because Even as a content creator, when I'm going out and I see other people doing content in the way, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
move it along."
it's part of our society now, and like we said, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. So the
Yeah.
good is that, we may have inspired somebody to change their life for the better because of the
Mhm.
videos they shot of us. And I know that sounds like very self-serving to me, but again, I'm very humble
Yeah.
about that fact. I take that very seriously. And then there's the bad of like, the people that stand in the parking lot and take all these pictures and, crowd. I went to Horseshoe Bend a couple years ago, and like the line to take a picture of
That
Horseshoe
one's tough.
Bend was ridiculous. And every national park you go to, they've gotten so crowded, and people are taking pictures and doing all that. And I respect, they're out there to do what they want to do to enjoy their time. I'm going to do what I want to do to enjoy my time. And like I said, usually I'm there to hike first, and the videos come second. And again, I try to do it when there's nobody around.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, there'll be even hikes where I'm like, "Okay, I wanna do, like, this, and this," and then I get out there and I'm like, "I just wanna hike. I just wanna
Yeah.
enjoy the day," and then I feel so good. I think with content, I'll only shoot it if it brings me joy. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
wanna
great.
shoot it if I'm just doing it for, like, algorithm or something, like,
Yeah.
I wanna love what I'm doing, and so if I am not loving it, I'm like, "I'm just gonna hike."
And I think, like, for any creative person, nature is very inspiring. That's why you have
Yes.
photographers, you have artists. Like, I ran into a young woman who was out, and she literally had an easel and a paintbrush, and she was at like 10 or 11,000 feet. And she was like, "This is just a beautiful spot to paint." And I'm like, "Absolutely." I was so
I
happy.
wish
Like,
I could do that.
yeah, it was so amazing. And she did great. And, but like for me, I get inspired out there. I think a lot of people do. And nature is so big, and it makes you, it makes you feel so small being in that like huge space, that I think it helps the creative mind just kind of flow. So that's that's where I'm creative. So that's where I shoot
Yeah.
it.
I don't know. Sometimes the lighting is just right and it just
Yeah.
makes you feel so good. I don't know why. I don't know why lighting has anything to do with
Yeah.
my heart flutters, but I don't know. If it's
Yeah.
moody outside, I'm like, I feel amazing. I just want to take pictures of clouds.
Yeah. Or you could just see a rock and be like, "That's a dumb rock, but
That
oh
is,
my gosh, that's the coolest rock I've ever
that's
seen in
the
my
coolest
life."
rock.
Yeah.
It's shaped like a cactus. I don't know,
Exactly. It's shaped like a rock, but I still love it. I don't
but
know
I
why I
still
love
love
it. I
it.
love it. Yeah, it's and like you said, lighting changes and the seasons change, and you get a different kind of feel and perspective pretty
Yeah.
much every day that you go out into nature.
Yeah. That's why I just don't get bored of it. Just
No, you
catch me
can't.
outside. Do you have a hike that has totally surprised you in the way that either it was just way more beautiful than you thought it was going to be, or maybe it was way more challenging than you thought it was going to be?
I have both. I told you I was recently in Oregon, and I showed up to Crater Lake, and I'd heard Crater Lake was pretty. It was the most sensational thing I've seen in my entire life. I got there, it was like a blue sky day, and the lake was completely flat, so the entire rim of mountains around it were completely reflected down into the water. It was simply the most inspiring. I've never seen anything look like this, and I've seen a lot of stuff, and Crater Lake was just like, "What is this?" I couldn't believe it. And then there's a ton of hikes out here that end up being, either harder than I thought, or the one that I'm thinking of is called Mount Snicktow, I think it is. I don't even know how to pronounce it. But it was a mountain that beat me 3 times. I tried to hike it 3 times, and once because it was just so much, it doesn't look super steep, and then you get there and it's just straight up this mountain. So the first time I just wasn't prepared physically. The second and third time, I think it was, weather blew in and I had to leave. And then the first time I hiked to the wrong mountain. I forgot about that. So I go up there and I'm like all excited, and I'm like, I'm going to conquer this mountain because it's a 13er. So I was excited to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, the trail cuts across the Continental Divide, so it goes either direction. And I went the wrong direction. I hiked all the way to finish this hike, and I looked down, and there's the little plaque down there that said like Miner's Peak or something. And I'm
Oh,
like, this isn't what? And then you
I
turn
went the
around,
wrong
and
way.
I'm looking at the mountain that I wanted to hike. So that was the first mistake. The second mistake was it was too steep, and then I got caught. I didn't get caught in weather, but the weather came in to the point that I didn't feel comfortable. So
Sure.
I turned around and came back down. So like the fifth time, I finally like got to the top, and I was like, whew, like.
I
But I felt.
check.
But another thing is, I felt good not finishing that hike because that was the first time I didn't finish a hike, and I was like, I thought I'd be disappointed, but I was like, no, I made a good decision,
Yeah.
and I turned around and came back. But that was definitely one that it was just like, it felt so good to get that one, especially after just the rough go at it for a little bit there.
I've
So
had a few of those too. I'm just like,
yeah,
something always happens. But, I think people always ask me too, because, I'm a solo hiker as well. And they're just like, well, what do you do? Like if something, if the weather is bad or, something's going wrong. And I just trust my gut, like
yeah.
if it feels weird, don't continue. And, I think there's some people that push through and have amazing experiences, but I'm just not willing to risk it.
Well, and I think that goes back to the people that like they're out there for the exercise or they're out there
Hmm.
as peak baggers. Like they're out there to brag about it on Monday drinking coffee in the office, as opposed to the people that are out there just enjoying nature.
Yeah.
Because for me, if I go halfway up a mountain and then I'm like, oh, those clouds don't look very nice, I still had a great day because I went halfway up
Yeah.
a mountain.
I was outside.
Yeah, when I didn't finish Snick Cow, I created a blog called I Tried and I Lost and That's Okay. Because I wanted to let people know you can get in serious problems if you try and you get caught in a storm or you go further than your body will allow you to go. It's not like, no, I'm having a bad day. It's like I could die and
Yeah.
they're gonna have to bring a helicopter in here
It's
to bring
literally
me
the
down.
wilderness.
Exactly, exactly. So, and I think people have to know kind of some of those restrictions. Out here, we have people who fly out and they're like, I'm here from Kansas for a business trip, so I'm going to go hike a 14er because that's what I saw on the internet. And it's like, that's probably not the best thing you're going to do, and there's some that you can,
Here,
there's some
take
that
this
are
boost can.
yeah, there's some that are pretty easy, and then there's some where, unfortunately people pass away on mountains out here every year because they're like, well, they came out in December to hike Long's Peak and they were wearing jeans and like Adidas and for some reason slipped off the icy mountain slope. It's like, which is sad, but
Yeah.
there's people that try to go too far and I'm like, you don't have to. Like
Yeah.
a day in nature is still a good day in nature. And
Exactly.
just enjoy how far you made it and then try it
Yeah.
again another time.
Enjoy the butterflies and the rocks and the
Exactly.
birds.
Exactly.
Greg, we're going to get you into birds. I'm so excited for this.
I might have to start birding.
We just need to get you like a bird feeder. That's what really started me on it. Is I
Okay.
got a bird feeder and then it has a camera. And so watching my birds and then I started naming them.
I had that bird feeder, but I had to give it to my cousin because I live in like I said, an apartment downtown. And there's like nothing but squirrels and rats around. And then two, like she lives out in the suburbs and she had like 50 different birds that popped up to her thing. And I'm like, we got one. His name's Carl. He just sits in that tree because everybody here has a cat. So he's scared to move, So we've all
Yeah.
seen Carl.
I have a dove named Petunia.
Nice.
And every once in a while, she brings her boyfriend, who I named Petunio.
Okay.
I don't know.
I like it.
I have a problem, but
It sounds romantic.
it's super cute, actually. I did some research. They mate for life. So
Huh?
they're soulmates.
That's
I'm
amazing.
crazy bird lady. I don't know how it happened.
You did. It seemed to happen quick. You went from a birder at the start of this interview to now you're naming pigeons.
My husband's pretty upset about it, actually.
I can see
He's like,
that.
how did we get here?
It's a very slippery slope.
It really is.
I did. So I was in Rocky Mountain probably 3 months ago, and I ran into this. It was like this old retired couple, and they were so excited about something. And I was like, what is it? And they named off this bird, like a yellow breasted, red backed whippoorwill or something like that. And they're like, this is the first time we've ever seen one of these in this park. And I sat and I looked at it. I'm like, cool. It looks like a finch. I don't know anything about birds, but it was like they were so passionate about it. And like they knew the song, they knew everything about how it looked. And it was, I'm like, man, I hope when I get older, I become one of these people because they were having a blast with it.
They love it. So the Great Salt Lake is actually a huge place for birds, like especially in the winter, it's a migratory place. And so I'll go out there in the winter if I don't want to like hike in the snow or something. And I'll literally just hang out with all the old people and their big wildlife cameras. And I'm just here with my iPhone. And, we just have a good old time.
I love it. We have a lake around here that has like egrets and bald eagles and all that stuff. And everybody goes, again, they've got the lenses that are longer than my body. And I'm out there with my Android and I'm like, I got you. And like, how'd you get that picture? I'm like, 100 times zoom, man. They get mad at me. So
same. I'm the same.
Yeah.
I know that you're also a solo hiker. Do you have any scary or creepy stories that have happened to you outside?
Most of my scary moments have all involved moose.
Yeah.
I was so desperate to see a moose when I first started hiking, and then I saw a moose and I was like, holy crap, those are big. And I don't need to see one anymore. And now it turns out, like, every time I'm hiking by myself in certain places, I'll come around a corner and there'll be a moose like 10 feet away from me. And I'm like,
All
okay,
right.
cool, great.
So
I'm just
you're
going to wait
there.
for you.
I'm here.
Yeah, right. I don't want to go there. You can have that. I'll stay over here until you're tired and then you go away. Yeah. I think the like 99.9% of my like jump scares in the woods though are from my mortal enemy, and that is the squirrel. And I will, that moment when you're solo hiking and you're in the middle of nowhere and everything starts, the hair on the back of your neck pops up and you just feel like something's close or something's there and you're like freaked out. And then you hear jump and it's like a big clapping or a high pitched squeak and you jump and you're like, ah, and then you turn around and there's this one little squirrel who's like tapping his tail off of the tree and you're just like, I swear.
Well, they
this is
also
why
make this noise that sounds like a velociraptor.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it, but
I
you
need to
know
hear
what
it.
I'm talking about. And when I
I
first
don't.
started
Could
hiking,
you do it? Could you? There it is. There it is. I knew I'd get you.
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, it's this weird, like clicky, high pitch, like it's
Yeah, when I first started
terrifying.
hiking, I did not know that was a squirrel. I was like,
Mhm.
velociraptor. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then
Or
one
like,
day I saw a squirrel doing it, and I was like, that big noise is coming out of that little thing.
and they're literally like 6 inches long, and they're making enough noise, and they always wait until you walk right past them, and as soon as it's not like, oh, I see you coming, I'm gonna make noise, so we know that each other. No, they're just like, I'm gonna scare the crap out of this guy. Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, every single time.
I was hiking a pretty big hike down a little bit further south from me. And I was on my way down. So I'd like hiked up, I was coming down, and you're solo hiking, you're just in your thoughts. So you're just like, da, 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 da. And this squirrel came out of nowhere and it just jumped right in front of me, scared the crap out of me. And the hike, so it was kind of like, it was like a slant, and then the trail goes like this. I just tumbled all down here because of a dang squirrel. And then I'm like trying to climb back up, bleeding. My legs are tore up. And like these people come by and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Like,
And this is why nobody believes me. Squirrels are our mortal enemies.
Yeah.
And think about it. If they did not have bushy tails, we would all be like, these are rats.
These are rats.
But no, they're like, we have bushy tails, so we're cute.
We're so cute.
I'm not buying it. Team Marmot over here, but the squirrels can go.
I love marmots.
Marmots and pike are pretty nice, but
And
squirrels.
I've really gotten into porcupines. Wait, do you guys have them out there?
No, I have not seen a porcupine.
Yeah,
I need to find one now.
Well, I guess you'll have to come visit.
Okay.
But I see them a lot in the winter up at like Alta Ski Area or Brighton. Have you been to Antelope Island when you've visited? It's a state park out on the Great Salt Lake, and they have like bison and all kinds of wildlife. There's porcupines out there.
That's crazy. I just found out that they can shoot their quills.
Actually, I heard that might not be true. But now we need to do some research.
I just know I'm not getting close to them. That's all I know. Like,
yeah, it's actually very tough because their faces are the cutest. So it's pretty hard because they're like, and then they also have these like coming out.
Well, I mean, that like skunks are cute too, but you don't want to pet them.
I might.
You want
I
to
don't
pet
know.
them, don't you? Yeah. Yep.
I actually saw this reel today. If I get attacked by a bear, know that I got in one last pet. And I was like, yep.
Yep. I got the boop in. The nose did not go unbooped.
Yep. Nope.
Bears are kind of scary too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We only have black bears out here, so they don't really like people, but they're huge.
But still,
and they can run really fast.
I think as a solo hiker, my biggest fears are cougars. I don't want to run into.
Me too.
A cougar.
I usually see them at the bar, but sometimes no. Yeah. Have
are
you
they
ever?
Friends?
Exactly. Every time I go to Utah, they're hanging out around me. They're trying to chase me down. Have you ever heard what they actually sound like?
Like the bird chirping
They
thing?
sound like the bird chirp thing, and
Which
it's the most terrifying. Now, as soon as I hear a bird chirp, I just, I just curl up into a ball.
Yeah, I love birds. I don't love cougars. So what's happening?
I
I'm
mean,
confused.
we are lucky, and here's my little tip of the day. You've been stalked by a cougar. Everybody, I
Oh, I'm
think, who
sure.
hikes has been stalked by a cougar. They don't really want to go after us, but if you're on 2 feet and you're standing and you're walking, they're like instinctually not interested in you. But if you like sit down or you kind of go down on all fours for someone, like tie your shoe or something, then they become very interested in you. So if there's
Interesting.
one around, do not sit down or squat down. Stay tall.
Noted.
Get as big as you can.
Also noticed, just by watching the news, that cougars and like grizzly bears
Mhm.
seem to somehow always attack the runners.
Yeah.
And so, don't run.
Yeah, I'm
That's why I don't. That's why I
that's
don't
why I
run.
don't run,
That's
yeah.
why. That's the only reason I don't run. It's not
That
because I can't or I can't,
oh,
can't breathe. It's because I don't want to be attacked.
mine is all 3 of those. I can't breathe, and I don't really wanna be attacked. But it is, like, the animals have, like, that chase drive, like, so
Yeah.
if you run away from them, they're like, "Oh, that must be food," like,
Yeah.
so, yeah, you don't wanna trigger
Just
that.
hike really slow. Please don't come after me.
Exactly. Well, I've got that covered, they're like, "Man, that
Same.
guy's breathing harder than me, I'm gonna leave him alone."
Or like, let's just let him suffer on
He's
his
gonna
own.
take he's gonna taste like lactic acid. I know it. So we're just gonna let him go.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. We've kind of talked about this a little bit, but I feel like the outdoors tend to give us like those big wow moments that you'll just never forget. Do you have one of those? Would it be Crater Lake or do you have any others that you
Oh,
just can't get out of your head?
I have so many. I told you about the White Sands one. That was kind of
Oh, yeah, the
amazing.
rainbow.
Yeah, the rainbow and like the pink sand and the sunset over the mountain and then the thunderstorm behind me. And it was like I don't know, it was like a kaleidoscope of wonderment. Is that even a word? No, I think I
It
pulled it
is now.
off. What else? What else? My first 14, well, I don't really do 14ers anymore. So, but my first like 13 or 14er, was kind of cool. There's a random hike that we found. Me and my friend found it because we like took a wrong turn and ended up there and hiked to the top of this. It was brutal. It was a fire road that went straight up. And then you get there and it opens up to this giant bowl and you would have no idea. And it's like the mountains surround you and there's wildflowers everywhere and it was absolutely amazing. I went on the top of Monarch Pass the other day and was driving home and just stopped and did this hike that's part of the Colorado Trail and it turned out to be just stunning. It's all these little moments where you find something. My first time at Arches was very cool. Mesa Arch in Canyonlands where you go there for sunrise and the entire inside of the arch turned bright gold because of the way the angle of the sun,
Yeah,
which
you
is
like
very
can't even
cool.
blame people for lining up at sunrise. Like I get
Yeah,
it. Get
yeah,
that shot because it's incredible.
absolutely. It's so nice. Yeah, I mean, I went to the first waterfall, even just the first waterfall every year. But I think one of the moments that kind of changed me is like there's a park out here called Staunton State Park, which is my favorite state park. It's kind of where I fell in love with hiking. It's kind of where I consider it my home park. And if you ever need to see me, that's usually where people run into me the most.
We'll go stalk Greg.
Go stalk me there. But there's a mountain that's like kind of on the outskirts of the park called Lion's Head, and you see it throughout a lot of the hikes that you do. You see Lion's Head, Lion's Head, Lion's Head. And I had no idea that you could climb to the top of it. The first time I went to the park, did like 6 miles, and I was like, oh, I'm dying. And then I talked to a ranger a few times later, and he was like, yeah, you can go to the top of that. And I actually finally made it to the top of it. I think my second year of hiking, and like I sat there and I looked down upon the entire park that had given me so much joy. And you can see Elk Falls from up there, kind of you see the whole park and it's just stunning. And it was one of those moments where it was like, okay, I did the thing that kind of inspired me to start in the first place. I finished it. And then I had to think to myself, well now what's going to inspire you? And
What do I do now?
I just found new places and I kept
Yeah.
going. And I still try to get back and hike to the top of that once a year if I can.
Yeah. There's definitely those one hikes that inspire you every time. Just
Exactly.
keep going. Yeah. Because they're always going to make you feel, if you just need to feel good, I always just go back to those hikes that I love.
There's a lot of those where you can kind of turn your brain off and then
Yeah.
you'll come out of a trance like halfway through the hike and you're like, oh, I'm in nature. This is cool.
You're like, oh,
You
it's
know,
kind of like
and
when you're driving, you're like, oh, wait, I'm driving.
Yeah. No, don't. That's bad. We don't want to.
We've all
But
done it.
and we've
We've
all
all
done
done
it
it.
for sure. But yeah, like after a hard week of work and it's like I just want to reset, I'll go to certain places where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do this Saturday, I'll totally reset, then Sunday I can go enjoy something new, type of thing.
Yeah.
But
And I think especially like solo hiking, sometimes, I mean, it can be a little stressful to solo hike.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's nice to do those trails that just that way you can kind of enjoy nature without like, the stress of, is that squirrel going to get me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that comfort level. And
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's easier to enjoy. I feel like if you go on a hike that you've never been on before, you're looking at the whole hike. And it's kind of like you're looking at the forest. And then when you go on a hike that you've been on a million times, you're looking at the individual trees. You're looking at the
Totally.
leaves.
Yeah.
Because now you're like, okay, I know where this ends. So let's see all the cool. Oh, I've never seen that rock before. Oh, I've never seen that tree before. Oh, and like you start noticing the little details of each hike when you've done them more than one time.
It is so true. Okay. This is my favorite part of the podcast. It's my we listen and we don't judge section
Okay. Okay.
because we've all done really stupid things out there. And I think just, in our, way to show people that none of us know what we're doing. And
Yeah.
I also just want to know that I'm not the only one out there doing stupid stuff.
Doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you got to learn somehow, right?
Absolutely. I've made no mistakes. I've been perfect the whole time. There
That's so
isn't.
great. I'm
There
so
is no
happy to
reason
hear
to
that.
judge me. Gosh, I don't even know. I feel like mine are all about, like I said earlier, starting out where I brought like a 20 or like a 30-liter backpack to a day hike. And I had hatchet in there. Every book that I read, I had like a space blanket, and I'm like, it was like a paved trail,
I did that too.
You start in those ways, not bringing spikes on some of these winter snow hikes, and then like just
Clipping them to your bag and not putting them on. Do you do
I
that?
I do that one. That is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah,
I'm
me
like,
too.
oh, it's slippery. Now, I did have one actually the other day where this was like a year ago maybe, and they were strapped to my back, and I was hiking with two of my friends, and they were both like, should we put our spikes on? I'm like, I think it's just gonna be icy right here, and I think we can once we clear it, we'll be fine. Like, okay, and I think one of them put their spikes on, and I didn't. I was being lazy, and like not a quarter mile into the hike, I slipped and I landed with my rib cage into like a tree root,
Oh no.
and I was like, and I cracked a rib, and I was like, okay, yep, I'm done with this hike for now. And then as I'm sitting down there, all like, battered and bruised, I'm putting my spikes on, like I had them on the whole time. Leave me alone. I had one. So I usually hike at elevation, up in the mountains where it's nice and cool. But Colorado Springs is at like 7,000 feet, but it is really hot in Colorado Springs. That's like kind of more desert than the places I was hiking. And one of my first times there, I had like 3 liters of water with me. I thought it'd be fine. And I do this hike, and there's like, it's in a state park, but then you can keep going, and it ends up being like, gosh, I forget. It was like 14 miles and like 4,000 feet of elevation to get to the end of this hike. And there's signs everywhere that's like, if you continue on this trail, you need to be an expert. You will run out of water. And it was a day that was like 105 degrees.
Oh.
So I ran out of water like halfway through that hike, and there's no water on the hike. And I could literally see my car because of the like, where the parking lot was. I could see my car, and I was like 3 miles away from it, and I had no water. And I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die looking at my car, which had 2 Gatorades in a cooler in my car. Those little honey chews? Have you ever had those?
Yeah.
That is all I had in my backpack left. Like I consumed everything. And I was taking those honey chews and sucking on them just enough to put some moisture in my mouth. I made it to my car. I drank 2 like 32-ounce Gatorades in half a second. I drove to the ranger station, and I went there, and I'm just drenched in sweat. And I buy 4 more Gatorades, and the guy looks at me, he's like, do I need to call an ambulance? I'm like, I think I'm going to be good. I think I'm going to be good. He goes, you went up there, didn't you? I'm like, yep. He goes, well, that was dumb. I'm like, yep. And I just sat there and I pounded like 4 more 32-ounce Gatorades, and like finally felt better. It was, that was probably my biggest mistake hiking. And one thing that terrifies me now is running out of water.
Yeah, I've definitely done that too.
Mm-hmm.
But now I always bring an extra bottle of water. And I would say, especially in the summer, probably a couple times a week, I'm giving my water to someone. So I always just bring it just because I'm like, other people are going to do this. We all make mistakes. And,
Well, and I bring the filters now. Like,
yeah.
I always,
I
I don't
always
know.
carry mine too.
Like a couple times I've had such bad water. I couldn't find any really flowing water, so and the filters work and they kill all the bad stuff, but like it was like it tasted just awful, type of thing. So,
Have you ever
and then
done the tablets? I've not tried the tablets.
I haven't done the
No.
tablets.
Yeah.
No,
I've
I
always been
do.
curious.
I have like
Seems faster.
I did like a whole web series on the web page on the different options. So I got like, brands had sent me a bunch of different filter types. So I have so many of the filters. I'm like, yeah, I don't need the
You're like,
tablet.
I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, well, to kind of wrap up this amazing episode, do you have any advice for new hikers or people just trying to get more confident? I know we've kind of talked about it here and there, but
Yeah.
I think that it is intimidating getting outside, especially again, watching social media and seeing so many other people do it, that I kind of want to just make this space to like show that anyone can go out there.
Yeah. My advice would definitely be you don't have to hike a mountain to enjoy outdoors. I know, people are listening all over the country and world, I'm sure, but out here in Colorado, people feel like they failed if they didn't climb a mountain. And then what they do is they do something that's too hard for what they can physically handle. And then they hate hiking because they're like, oh, that was stupid. I hated it. I went up 4,000 feet and now my leg doesn't. Well, yeah, of course your leg doesn't work. The first time you hiked, you tried to climb a mountain. Go out and just enjoy nature and know your limitations. Know that, if you can do 3,000 feet of elevation, then knock yourself out. If you can only do 30 feet, well, then go do 30 feet. Go hike in the walk in the park that's near your house and work your way up to it. Being outdoors is wonderful, but it's real. Like there's risks involved in it. So take your time and really enjoy it. And don't judge your first hike or your first, like especially if you fail, don't let that sour you on the whole experience, because you can do easier hikes. You can do, just you said, like, go read a book by a lake, or go have a picnic outdoors. Like just do what you can to get outdoors and kind of see if it can change your life the way it changed mine, because it has absolutely changed my life, but I had to take it slow and I had to kind of learn as I went. So hopefully people can get outside.
Yeah, it changed my life too, honestly. I mean, when I first moved to Utah, I'm from Missouri,
Okay.
so flatland. And I came to Utah, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hike all of these mountains. Because I've always been a nature girly, And I was like, I'm going to do it. And the first time, I couldn't even make it. It was like like now it's like considered an easy hike. I
Yeah.
couldn't even like get up there, but I was like, I'm going to keep trying. And now I'm just totally obsessed.
Elevation is real.
It's real.
Like
I
there
still
is
say
no
like,
air up here.
yeah, like I'm still like, I've been here 12 years and I'm like, I think I'm still acclimating. I still can't breathe ever.
100%.
I have
Yeah.
my Midwest lungs.
Mm-hmm. I grew up in Illinois, so I'm with you.
Oh,
Like
see,
we
we have
have
so much in common, Greg.
we do. We do.
I mean, that's what makes us cool. So,
Mm-hmm. And that and casseroles, because that's all we ate growing up.
and fried anything.
Yes. But I still eat that, so I can't say that's a bad thing.
I think I ate so much that now I cannot eat gluten. Like it's not even a celiac thing. It's just my body's like, you've had enough in your lifetime.
Yeah, my
That you're
body's
done.
I'm still looking for that limit, because my body's like, hey, see that
It'll
cheese right
happen.
there? It'd be really good if we fried it. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
It's going to happen about the time you start getting into birds. It kind of comes together.
Is there like an invitation that comes out? Is
Yeah,
it like
I'll send it to you.
okay, because I feel like there's a certain age where everybody just transforms into a bird person.
Yeah. I'm very excited for you. It's gonna be.
I think it's when we can afford the big camera. That's when I'll turn into a birder.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, probably not every, but all the cute little old people I hang out with their big cameras, they're all like over 70, 75.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the only time you can afford a camera like that.
What
And
I've
I can't
learned,
wait. Can't wait for my time.
what I've learned is we can't call them old anymore. We just have to call them older, because we're getting old ourselves. Like
I am old, actually.
me too. And I'm like, man, I started, like, the other day somebody told me, they're like, 1984. That was 41 years ago. And I'm like, no way. I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's painful.
Or when they do those reels where they're like, what if someone is born, or like, what year would somebody be born to be considered old? And they're like 2001. And I'm like,
Yeah. These people that were like, they were born last century. I'm like, oh, okay, kid.
amazing.
Yeah. I
Well,
was
on
born
that
in
note,
I was born in the 19s. On that note, we both have to go to bed because it's getting late.
it is time for
right.
bed. Well, I do just want to say thank you so much. This has been absolutely wonderful. And I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with me today.
I had a blast, Cassie. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, we'll catch you on Instagram.
Yeah, check me out, fatmanlittletrail.com and fatmanlittletrail on all the social medias.
Perfect. Have a great night.
You too.
Greg, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your stories. I love how you remind us all that adventure doesn't have to be extreme to be meaningful. It's about slowing down, laughing at the little moments, and appreciating the view while you catch your breath. And friends, don't miss next week's episode. We are heading north. I'll be chatting with Sandra from Alaska with Sandra on social media, whose adventures showcase the wild beauty and wonder of the last frontier. We'll dive into what it's really like to live and explore in one of the most rugged places on Earth. In the meantime, if you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And if you have questions for me or for Greg, please drop them in the comments or reviews. We would love to hear from you. And of course, one last reminder, whatever adventures you head out on, please remember to leave no trace. Protect these places so they'll be just as magical for the next person. Until next week, bye.